about a third of the wood, which you need to remove. And now with a Dremel or some kind of a handpiece and a burr, you can remove all of the wood that has holes in it, and right down to the bottom of the drill hole, which ends up to be a point. So, and then with another handpiece, I can clean up everything.
You still have the points, the tip of the point still exists, right?
The drill?
It's making it flat now, I think.
Yeah.
You're not taking the whole tip of the hole.
He's making it
You're
flat.
leaving a little bit of the hole there, is that right?
No. The hole will go all the way through. The bottom of the drill is a point at the bottom.
Yeah.
So it goes right down to the point. Right down
So
to
he's
the
eliminating. You see the flat bit up there? He's eliminating so he has a flat lowered space.
The drill is all
Just because it's,
Yeah.
it's all
That's
this
flat.
like
He's
here.
not done
Well,
there.
I'm not finished yet.
Okay.
The one above, Richard, if you look at the one above that,
Well,
that's done and it's flat.
Let's go through it, and
Okay.
you're going to see what you're asking.
Well, I want to know right now.
Now you notice I've got the pith in this piece. It's an piece of African sumac, and the pith is in there, and it's checked. So, and I put super glue on it to stabilize it. But you see to the left of my right hand, that's a little better than the one I'm working on. So this is about as far as I go on the section that's underneath the handpiece. It's still got some grooves and markings of the burr, but I'm going to remove those with a sanding disc. The sanding disc is on a mandrel, and it's held on a mandrel with double-sided tape, not a screw. And I'll show you how that comes about and how I use it. I have these manuals for sale here as well. And the sanding discs, I'll show you how they're made. They're very simple. But anyway, you just clean everything up with this little disc. And you get the whole area as smooth as possible. Now, way on the bottom, you'll see some of the drill holes still visible, but those come out with, and I use somewhere probably initially around 180 grit. And these are the discs that I punch out.
Canvas punch.
Now it's a leather punch. It's double-sided masking tape. And it's important that you use masking tape because it has a paper between the adhesive rather than plastic. The plastic will heat up and melt, and the disc will destroy itself very quickly. So the paper doesn't stretch.
Masking tape, huh?
Yeah. Now I've got the background down, and what I do is I draw a bunch of horizontal lines on the lathe, and the reason for that is I want to drill another depth hole for the piercing, and I want them all to line up on the same line so that when I put a light inside and thin out the vessel isn't thin enough yet. The light will pop through the hole, and when they pop through in a line, you get this line of light. And I've drawn in the secondary veins that you see on the leaf, and the idea is that the hole will be part of a pierced hole, and it will fall out. You won't see any of the drill bits. So this is kind of what it looks like all the way around. And when I put it in the lathe, and you can see the light where the arrow is. That's now it's down to as thin as I want it to be. So I get a uniform wall thickness this way. And here's another example with another piece. I'm using the fiber optic with the light coming through the end, and you'll see that once you reach a certain thickness, the light will pop through. And now I'm ready to pierce it. And with the high-speed air-driven handpiece, I start creating random openings that are angular like a leaf is. They're not as round as they are sharp edged. inside the black veins that are the secondary veins. So it starts looking like this, and there's a leaf that shows how the openings are angular rather than round. Looks like a housing tract. Anyway, so that's kind of the process.
Do you use pneumatic drills the high-speed drills to do all this?
It's a high-speed dental lab hand speed, running at about 320,000 RPM. And so now when it's all pierced, we've got all this ink and black lines and square veins to round over and clean up.
Now this one is all, this is hollow. This one went all the way through. The other example you were showing us, you stopped before going all the way through, where the light was coming through it.
That was just to get the thickness from
Just to get the
inside.
thickness.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I see.
So I've used depth holes in two different ways here. The first way is to create a secondary background, and the second way is to create a wall thickness that's consistently thin that I can pierce.
I see. Okay, I got
So
it.
it's two different ways. And now I used to use a sanding disc again to clean everything up, round over the veins so they look like veins, and all the ink and everything just disappears and everything gets smoothed out, and then you just oil it and finish
Bingo.
like that.
Beautiful.
So that's the key.
And what grit were you using to sand round off those veins?
Something pretty heavy like 180, 150, and then I'll go back with a finer grit to make it smoother.
So you don't do any of that by hand, I gather.
No. Oh, you might, if you get into a tight corner where the veins come
Yeah.
together, you might want to use some hand sandpaper, but it's not as much as the power sander.
How long would one of those forms take you for, from
Yeah.
start to finish?
How long will they?
How long would it take you from start to finish to make one of those complete?
I don't know.
A week?
A month? Well, let me ask you this, and I'm not trying to be flippant or avoid the question. Why would you ask a question like that?
Curious.
Well, I'm just curious to know how long it takes to.
Oh.
You know,
Like if you want to get started on this, when can we expect to
No,
finish?
I mean, I'm just trying to
Well,
explain. I know how long it takes me to
one
make
of my
a bowl.
problems is I'm working with more than one piece.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Maybe
So-
a better question is how many do you do in a year or something like
Well,
that?
I did a series of these, and the last one was on a commission basis. And I stopped doing it because I know the process, and I've done 3, 4, 5, or 6, and then all of a sudden, if I do another one, I'm not learning anything.
Yeah.
I'm just going through the motion. I know what to do, and I know how to do it. And I get tired or bored of doing it.
Yeah.
But somebody came up to me and said, I really like it, I want a piece, and they're willing to pay the price. And in that situation, I was concentrating on it. It probably took about a month to do, 3 weeks to a month,
Right.
depending on the size. So, these are other variations. This is the latest one